everybody. We are going to get started on Module 4. You're making great progress in the class, and I've really enjoyed reading through all of your work so far. It was a pleasure to see the different types of research that you're doing so far for your project, and you had a really nice discussion of that research. Don't forget, for those of you that did that, in these assignments, you have a section that may require you to discuss the feedback that you've been given so far and the ways that you're implementing that feedback. That's an important part of this process. And also, a few of you missed out on discussing your primary research, who you would interview or how you would conduct a survey, and then having at least 3 questions. So go ahead and take a look at my feedback for that. And if you would like to submit that missing information, I would be happy to accept that and update your grades. So let's go on now to Module 4. Go ahead and click on the Modules button until you get to Module 4. And scroll down until you see Module 4 Overview. Click on the Module 4 Overview, and this will let you know what we will be working on for Module 4. And you will see in Module 4, we will begin to focus on some potential solutions to your problem. So far, you have identified the problem. You've thought about the research that you want to include. You've thought about what's at stake. If you don't solve this problem, you've identified people to interview or conduct a survey, and you've identified who you will be crafting your letter or memo to. Be as specific as possible. And so now we're going to start researching some solutions for this project. So go ahead and click on the next button at the bottom of the page. And this will take you to the Top Hat materials that you will complete before moving forward with the Module 4 assignments. You'll notice that I posted an announcement on the Top Hat materials and what you should be doing. You need to complete the Top Hat materials as I've instructed in earlier videos before you complete the assignments for the module. And just for clarification, I posted an announcement with some due dates. You'll notice that Top Hat has the end of the course located. It says the last day to turn in the materials. Now that's the last day to turn in the materials, but you should be submitting the materials in the module in which they are due. So I included some due dates in my module announcement for you in case you were confused about that. And the reason for that, you don't want to wait to complete these Top Hat materials because they're giving you important information on how to complete each of the assignments. So go ahead and click the next button, and that will take you over to the additional learning materials section. You're going to be watching some videos about the solutions. There's no submission required for this video on this page, and this will help you to get thinking about some solutions and what kind of actions you might potentially be able to do in order to address the problem. So go ahead and click on the next button, and this is going to take you over to the researching the solution assignment. And this will take about 4 to 5 hours, so make sure to set aside some time. And you can note that use of AI is not recommended for this assignment. So let's take a look at these instructions. I want to point out in step 1, because many of you forgot this in the last assignment, is that you need to be sure to explain the previous feedback received and how it was used in this assignment. So don't forget to include that when you submit this assignment. Step 2, you'll develop a list of search terms for brainstorming potential solutions to your problem and creating a key list of words in synonyms, specific terms, or broader concepts to help you find some solutions. And then in step 3, you'll begin researching. So you're going to find at least 3 reliable secondary sources from the library databases. These should not be more than 7 years old. And if you're having some difficulty, you can contact the library and they would be happy to walk you through how to use the databases in an effective manner. Then as we move on to step 4, you'll be drafting your synthesis of the possible solutions. So this is going to provide a brief overview of your problem. You're going to have at least one paragraph explaining your process for conducting research on potential solutions. The next paragraph will include how you know each of the sources you found are credible. How do we assess credible sources? All sources have bias, even academic research, peer-reviewed sources. So you need to think about their currency, the way you can apply them. You need to think about whether or not these are experts in the field and whether or not their research has been fully vetted, that is fact-checked by professionals in the field. These are some ways that you can reduce bias in the research and things that you would evaluate in order to assess whether or not you have found some good research. And then there's a section also in Top Hat that discusses how to find credible sources. So make sure to review that. Next, you're going to write a 3-paragraph synthesis of the solutions that have been tried or could work. Maybe they've been tried in the past. Maybe they were fruitful and they were good solutions. Maybe they've been tried in the past and they didn't make the kind of changes that you're looking to make in your community. So this synthesis should be in your own words, and you're going to be integrating the sources that you found in step 2 into each paragraph. And in that integration, you will be citing an APA format and having a reference page at the bottom. So make sure that you've covered the section in Top Hat that discusses how to use in-text citations and integrate source material. So then you'll see that you need approximately 750 to 1,000 words. This is an informative synthesis genre. I will be the audience for this, but of course you should keep your audience in mind, the stakeholders and the person or people that you'll be addressing in your letter or memo, because that will heavily influence how you compose that letter or memo during the drafting process. You'll want to have a minimum of 3 sources in your reference list cited in APA. So that will be what you will be uploading to me. And just as a rule of thumb, the very first paragraph of this assignment should be what I mentioned earlier, you explaining the previous feedback you've received and how it was used in this assignment, and then you can proceed with the other paragraphs. That will help you to be successful in meeting all of the target goals for this assignment. And so you can also see on this page, it gives you a rubric to work at, and that will be what I will be marking. Notice that consideration and application of feedback is worth 2 points, so you don't want to get a 0 on that. So go ahead and complete all those pieces following the rubric as a checklist, and that will wrap up Module 4 for you. Have a great week, and let me know if you have any questions.